Gu Qingfeng is an ordinary demon hunter and prison guard working at the Demon Suppression Bureau. Despite working in this place, his goal in life is to be transferred literally anywhere else, as long as it's far away from the demon prisons and the demons inside them. In his wildest dreams, he never expected that he would ever enjoy working in this place and experiencing all the beatings he had to go through. But this is the story of how everything changes. On this particular day, Qingfeng enters the prison only to be immediately called over by a demon behind the bars. The demon immediately tries to use her seduction powers to lure Qingfeng into letting her escape. Qingfeng bites his own lip to wake himself up from the illusion and reminds himself that if he opens the door, the demon would literally suck his blood dry. A lot of his colleagues had already died the same way, and he has no plans to follow in their footsteps. Qingfeng stands boldly and exclaims to the demon that her powers won't work on him. He then quickly walks away before the demon can see the blush on his face. Unfortunately, the demon didn't give up, but instead stood up and increased the power of her seduction. She then clearly commands Qingfeng to open the doors. Qingfeng had to focus all of his willpower to not glance back, because if he does, he would know that he would fall into her spell. He reminds himself that he is in the Demon Suppression Bureau, where these evil demons are held. All of a sudden, sharp sounds emanate through the cell as the demon pulls out her whip and threatens to discipline him for disobeying her orders. Qingfeng's arousal increases as he finds the whole situation truly thrilling. His mind is slowly trying to convince itself that it's okay to look back. He's even justifying it to himself that there are other guards who can take her down anyway, so it's okay for him to look. Unfortunately for him, his perseverance finally crumbles when the demon calls him her husband and shows him her sexy feet. All thoughts finally leave Qingfeng's mind, and he opens the cell door with his keys. The demon smiles in triumph and immediately pounces on Qingfeng's neck to suck out his blood. But to her confusion, nothing happened. She quickly backs away, even though Qingfeng is supposed to be still in her control. Meanwhile, Qingfeng shakes his head as a system activates and a voice speaks out in his mind. The system warns him that he is being attacked by a demon and that his physical defense is automatically activated. This also causes Qingfeng to wake up from the hypnotism that he was under. Qingfeng couldn't remember what he was doing and where that strange voice was coming from. He is about to leave when he notices that the cell door is open and the demon is standing just inches away from him. Qingfeng was surprised and horrified, while the demon freaked out over his strange behavior. Qingfeng tries to make a run for it, while the demon steps out of the cell and uses her superhuman ability to leap over Qingfeng's head in a single bound. Now she is blocking Qingfeng's escape route. She then smiles as she dashes forward to attack the man. Her fangs soon sink in again into Qingfeng's neck, and Qingfeng realizes that he is about to die. However, the mysterious voice echoes in his head again, notifying him that his defense has increased. Qingfeng and the demon stumble back into the cell, where they crash violently into the wall. Qingfeng was sitting down on the floor with the broken wall behind him, but he's not afraid anymore. He smiles as he realizes that he actually has a system. He asks the system what his functions are, and the system explains that only Qingfeng can see him. Its official name is also the Become Stronger system. Its one and only function is that it makes the user stronger anytime he is attacked by demons. This means that as long as an opponent is a demon, the host cannot be harmed, but instead will make them stronger. Qingfeng smiles widely because this would mean being the demon prison's guard would surely be a breeze now. Meanwhile, the demon uses Qingfeng's momentary distraction to pounce on him once again. Qingfeng panics and slaps the girl into the ground with his newfound strength. Qingfeng's hands are now rated E for everyone. The demon was surprised and enraged that a mere human would dare raise his hands against her and injure her pretty face. She is infuriated and uses her full power to attack again. In the blink of an eye, her fingers wrap around Qingfeng's throat and throw him into the ground. Meanwhile, Qingfeng's defense increases by 2. Qingfeng wonders if he continues provoking the demon. Does that mean his defense would just continue to increase? The demon girl continues to be infuriated that Qingfeng doesn't seem to be hurt at all by her attacks. She jumps into the air and fires off beams of energy at Qingfeng. Meanwhile, Qingfeng just sits down and absorbs her attacks, all the time counting how many points his defense increases. He lies down on the floor and sleeps, even when the demon girl annoyingly stomps on him and kicks him for slacking off and fighting her. This continues on for 2 days, but Qingfeng notices that although he was earning plus 3 points during the first day, he is now only earning plus 0.5 points. Thankfully, the handy system explains to him that due to his increase in defense, The damage being done to him is steadily decreasing, which means the bonus decreases as well. Qingfeng realizes that he cannot just use a single demon if he wants to become invincible. He would have to go out and hunt stronger ones. Annoyed, he slaps the demon girl and orders her to massage his legs while he lies down and rests. The demon girl cannot believe the audacity of this man. He had just ordered her, a demon, to massage him while he just slept on the floor. She pummels him with punches for the next few hours, but this just ends up exhausting the demon girl while fully increasing Qingfeng's defense until he reaches the talents Bronze Skin, Iron Bones. Qingfeng observes that his defense won't increase anymore from this particular demon, so he stands up and caresses the demon's lips. He then orders her to turn off her battle mode and dispel her armor. When the demon girl doesn't listen, Qingfeng stretches his arms and prepares to give her a lesson. He starts kicking the girl down until she finally agrees to transform back. The demon wipes away her tears as she goes back to her normal clothes. Meanwhile, the masochist Qingfeng tells her that since she cannot help him by increasing his defense anymore, then she should instead entertain him by dancing for him. Left with no choice, the demon girl dances for Qingfeng's amusement, while Qingfeng's amusement for a few hours to the point that she falls down in exhaustion. Qingfeng then tosses her back into the cell and warns her to remember the dance moves he taught her for next time he visits. With that, he leaves the prison and heads over to the library. It is now time to research how he can get more powerful. Based on the books he found, there are 3 levels in the demon prison. The first level is where they detain low-level demons and cultists. This is also where Qingfeng had just been. The second level is where they imprison mid-level demons, so only yellow-ranked demon hunters and above can enter. Lastly, the 3D level is where they contain the high-level demons. This also has the strictest requirements to enter, with one needing to be a mysterious ranked demon hunter and above to be given permission to enter. Currently, Qingfeng is just a temporary intern, so he needs to become a yellow-ranked demon hunter if he wants to become an official employee and explore the next level. He pockets his work manual and heads over to explore the first level. Unfortunately for him, his boss arrives and informs him that his shift is over. Thus, Qingfeng has no choice but to remove his uniform, wear his normal everyday clothes, and exit the prison. Before he leaves, he asks his system if self-cultivation is useful at all other than being attacked by demons. Unfortunately for Qingfeng, the system doesn't give him an answer at all. Qingfeng wonders if this means that the system wants him to rely on himself rather than asking the system all the time. He heads over to the nearby library to continue his studies. While perusing the shelves, he finds a book titled Iron Cloth Shirt. Since this sounds similar to his new talents, Bronze Skin, Iron Bones, Qingfeng guesses that it must be good to learn both. In addition to that, they both work by strengthening his muscles and skin. He takes the book and starts cultivating inside the cultivation room, where a brazier is lit to help cultivators concentrate. To Qingfeng's amazement, he managed to cultivate the skill and learn it in just one day. This is breathtaking since normally, it takes people over a decade of hard work to learn external skills. He leaves the cultivation room satisfied and happy. He also plans to use the skill Iron Cloth Shirt to hide from others the existence of his talents, Bronze Skin, Iron Bones. The next day he arrives early at the demon prison ready to work. His colleague, Zhang Zheng, was surprised to see him since normally, Qingfeng is sullen and hates his job. In fact, he usually arrives 30 minutes late to his shift. Qingfeng scratches his head and tells his friend that from now on, he has decided to work hard. He also wants to repay Zheng for covering for him every time he was late in the past, so he will now come an hour early to work every day. Zheng wonders if Qingfeng is sick or something, but since this means he gets to go home early, he happily waves goodbye to Qingfeng and leaves the demon prison. After Zheng leaves, Qingfeng grins and wonders which demon he should visit now. Unfortunately for him, the prison's keys seem to have a mind of its own as it drags Qingfeng to a mysterious door. The door has multiple chains restraining it and multiple paper seals covering it. Qingfeng's curiosity gets the better of him, and he slides open the door's window slot to see who is inside. To his utter horror, a large red glowing eye was already staring right at him when he opened the window. Qingfeng wakes up to find himself transported to a meadow full of flowers. He looks around, but it is nature in all directions, and he literally has no idea where he is. In the distance, a couple seems to be playing by the grass. Up above, the sun is shining beautifully and making the whole scenery warm and peaceful. Qingfeng then notices something strange. The sun here seems to be red, But what Qingfeng thought to be the sun earlier turns out to be an eye, as it opens its eyelid and glares directly at Qingfeng. Qingfeng was transfixed in fear, and he can feel the aura of death envelop him. In an instant, the bed of flowers surrounding him disappeared, and he found himself in a desolate landscape with skulls decorating the ground. Meanwhile, the eye in the sky generates a body for itself, until it slowly becomes a giant cyclops treading the ground. It was so huge that Qingfeng could only watch in horror as it stepped its foot right in front of him. The shockwave blasts him back, and the giant cyclops reaches out to him. The system then notifies Qingfeng that he had just been attacked by an eye demon. As a reward, his soul power increased by 10 points. Qingfeng looks around, and he is back at the demon prison in front of the mysterious door. He realizes that what he saw earlier wasn't real, and he was just under an illusion technique. Meanwhile, the demon on the other side of the prison cell orders Qingfeng to open the door. Qingfeng opens the lock, neutralizes the paper seals, and slowly pushes the door open. The eye demon celebrates as Qingfeng enters the cell and promises to exact his revenge once he escapes the Demon Suppression Bureau. But to its confusion, Qingfeng pushes the door close, trapping both of them inside. He scolds Qingfeng and glares at him with its single large eye. He orders Qingfeng to open the door again, but Qingfeng is getting annoyed at the flying eyeball. Furthermore, he couldn't pretend anymore, so he grabs the eye staring right at his face. The eye demon tries to fly away, but Qingfeng just jams his fingers right in the middle of its eye. Blood drips on the floor as the eye demon screams at Qingfeng for poking him in the eye. He demands to know how Qingfeng had managed to break through his eye technique, but Qingfeng just shrugs his shoulders. Instead, he offers to bring the eye demon to the infirmary for treatment of his bleeding eye. The eye demon immediately knows that it's a trap based on Qingfeng's goofy face, so he instead fires another eye technique straight into Qingfeng's face. Qingfeng was blinded by the attack, and when he opened his eyes, he was again under another dimension. The eye demon once again has a huge muscular body and threatens to torture him for eternity. Even when Qingfeng knows that it's an illusion, he couldn't help but still feel the sense of oppression. The eye demon then commands Qingfeng to kneel, increasing the surrounding gravity to force Qingfeng. Qingfeng could feel his knees shake in protest as it tries to fight off the overwhelming gravity, but the demon opens up more eyes all around the sky. Soon enough, the system notifies Qingfeng that his soul power increases again by 10 points. Not only that, he broke through his limit and was awarded the eye technique, Illusion Vision. Qingfeng's eyes burn like hell as the technique implements itself to his vision, and he furiously rubs his eyes against the pain. A few seconds later, the technique finally activates, and when he looks at the imposing figure of the eye demon, he immediately changes it to a vision of himself sitting on the throne. Qingfeng smiles wickedly in delight, and he warns the demon that he will use him as his test subject. With their roles now reversed, he commands the tiny eye demon to come closer. The eye demon's body gets twisted around by the Qingfeng's energy, and it is forcefully flung into Qingfeng's waiting hand. The eye demon realizes that not only did Qingfeng break through his eye technique once again, he also took control of the whole illusion. Qingfeng snaps his fingers and illusory walls sprout out all around them, and then, with one great sweeping motion, throws the eye demon like a baseball into the walls, letting him bounce around like a ping-pong ball. When it bounces back to him, Qingfeng claps his hand in prayer and prepares for the demon eye to land straight into its point. Blood spurts all around the cell, and Qingfeng happily leaves the prison cell, letting the demon eye know that he is only spared because he helped him learn a new skill. After his adventure with the eye demon, Qingfeng once again heads toward the library. He takes out another book about illusion magic that teaches him how the eye illusion technique has two functions: he can control others with it or create illusions. Unfortunately, since it's an eye technique, the user must have eye contact with the target and has higher spiritual power than the enemy. Any deviation from these requirements would either reduce the effectiveness of the skill or outright have no effects. Qingfeng was happy with all this information, since this just means that the technique can grow stronger as he also grows stronger. He can also use the illusory eye technique against certain martial artists. Martial arts in this world is divided into 5 categories. These are 1. Ki Gathering Realm 2. Internal Energy Realm 3. True Energy Realm 4. Gang Energy Realm, and lastly, 5. Innate Realm or Grandmaster. These 5 also correspond to the 5 ranks in demon hunting, including Demon Hunter, Yellow Rank, Profound Rank, Heaven Rank, and Earth Rank. These 5 ranks are further divided into 9 levels called heavens, with the martial artist only leveling up in rank when he manages to reach the 9th heaven of his current rank and break through the next. As for Qingfeng, he is currently a 3rd heaven of the lowest rank of demon hunters. Thanks to the system, he is climbing the heavens in leaps and bounds, and he wonders how high he can reach when he finishes clearing the whole demon prison. While walking through the prison, a voice suddenly calls out to Qingfeng from one of the cells. He approaches the sealed door and asks the occupant why he's calling. When he opens the cell window, he sees that the occupant is an old man. The old man then asks Qingfeng if he is there to collect materials for talismans. Qingfeng has no idea what the old man is saying, but the old man continues to expound how the demon hunter department approached him half a month ago to collect materials. He guesses that they must be in a tight battle, so they must have run out of materials quickly. The old man then starts pulling something out of his robe, and Qingfeng prepares himself for a fight. However, the old man just brings out a piece of wood attached to his skin and rips it off of his body. He then happily offers the wood to Qingfeng. The old man was surprised when Qingfeng bravely stick his hand through the door window to accept the wood. However, the old man just smiles wickedly and puts the wood into his waiting palm. Qingfeng intently studies the piece of wood that the old man gave him, but try as he might, he can only see a piece of tree bark. He tries to smell the bark, and he immediately recognizes it as smelling the same as the paper talismans that are all over the prison doors. This must be what the old man was talking about. Qingfeng further realizes that this must also be the reason why the demon prison was created in the first place. They captured a tree demon and used the bark from its body to create talismans. The old man must be a tree demon, and Qingfeng couldn't help but praise the demon hunter department for having such a renewable resource of materials. He quickly hides the wood in the folds of his clothes, since it might be valuable. He wonders if he should use the demon to level up too, but he doesn't want to feel guilty, so he opts to just find someone else. Qingfeng had only taken a few steps when the old man called out to him and asked him if he could accompany the old man for a while and have a conversation. The old man reveals that he has been in his prison for 10 years already, but no one had even spoken to him through all of those years. As such, he hopes that he can at least talk to someone before he dies. Qingfeng takes pity on the old man, so he heads back and opens the cell window. The old man started his story 100 years ago in a small village. In the village, a boy named Zhang accidentally planted a small locust tree. Of course, this story is just the tree demon's way of hypnotizing Qingfeng into opening the cell door. Unfortunately, his story is interrupted when he spots Qingfeng already entering the prison cell with him. He asks him why he's not afraid of him, but Qingfeng replies that he can just tell that the old man is a good demon. He then sits on a hanging vine near the old man. The old man wonders if he should continue telling the story or just directly attack Qingfeng now. Meanwhile, Qingfeng is just using the vine as a swing and arrogantly acting like a child in a playground. The old man continues the story of the little locust tree. When the tree grew up, it became a monster and ate the people of the village. Meanwhile, vines are slowly filling up the cell, poised to attack Qingfeng at a moment's notice. Qingfeng asks the old man if the story is finished already, but the old man points out he has no need to continue it anymore. He then transforms into his true form as a tree demon, but Qingfeng immediately punches him in the face. Qingfeng scolds him for not having enough professionalism to finish the story before attacking him. The tree demon stands back up and creates some distance between him and Qingfeng. He then sends his vines to attack Qingfeng, and a few seconds later, Qingfeng is all tangled up within the vines. The system notifies Qingfeng that he just gained +5 strength due to the attack. The tree demon approaches the strung-up Qingfeng, but Qingfeng smirks and goads him to tighten up the vines more. His taunting works, and the tree demon completely wraps Qingfeng in vines. He then starts squeezing and squeezing Qingfeng. Meanwhile, inside the cocoon of vines, Qingfeng is just continuously earning more and more strength points. He soon exceeds the limit of his strength and obtains the power of strength of 9 bulls and 2 tigers. Upon reaching the peak of what he can obtain from the tree demon, Qingfeng easily breaks out of the vines, holding him, and jumps back down to the ground. The tree demon was stunned to see him unscathed, but Qingfeng just smirks and starts cracking his knuckles. He then jumps on the terrified demon. A few minutes later, the old man is now massaging Qingfeng, who is relaxing on a table. The old man continues his stories of the locust tree and of how he was captured by demon hunters. He was actually turned into a tree demon because of a magic weapon. He was planted in a place where the wood attribute weapon is buried, and this caused him to take on physical form as a tree. Qingfeng guesses that the magic weapon they are talking about must be at least mysterious rank if it was able to transform a demon. Magic weapons are actually weapons with spiritual intelligence. They also have their own ranks that correspond to the 4 ranks of demon hunters: Heaven, Earth, Mysterious, and Yellow rank. The old man informs Qingfeng that the particular weapon that transformed him is called the Wood King's Sword, an Earth rank magic weapon from hundreds of years ago. Unfortunately, the passage of time had caused the weapon to lose its spirituality, so it can only be ranked now as a mysterious rank. Qingfeng also pointed out that the tree demon could have absorbed some of this spirituality that caused the weapon to decrease in rank. Nevertheless, he orders the old man to tell him where the Wood King's Sword is. The old man doesn't want to tell where it's hidden, so Qingfeng shakes him like a tree until he finally spits out the truth. The sword is in the Shensen Temple in Jixin Country. With that, Qingfeng finally leaves the cell. Since it's almost dawn already, Qingfeng decides that it's already too late to retrieve the sword now. His shift is also almost over when his mind starts to wonder how the demon he encountered, the corpse sprite girl, is doing now. He visits her cell and demands for her to change into a more mature look with revealing clothing. The demon follows his orders, but Qingfeng suddenly orders her to stop and he quickly leaves the cell, leaving the confused demon behind. Under a sakura tree, the handsome Qingfeng receives yet another confession from a classmate. Qingfeng is a heartthrob in school, with all the girls wishing to become his girlfriend. He then snaps his fingers and the scene changes. Now, Emperor Qingfeng is sitting on his throne and surrounded by his concubines when a soldier announces that they are being invaded by beautiful girls all wanting to marry the emperor. However, Qingfeng just invites them all to his harem. The scene abruptly fades and Qingfeng wakes up back in the real world. He is still being massaged by the demon girl, but he scolds the eye demon for dispelling the illusion. The eye demon shakily notifies Qingfeng that it's actually time for his shift to end, so he has to go. Qingfeng waves goodbye to his 2 slaves and puts them back in their respective prison cells. Qingfeng heads toward the exit, where he bumps into his colleague, Zhang. He notices that Zhang seems to be in a good mood, and upon seeing Qingfeng, Zhang grabs him by the shoulders, looks around to verify that nobody's around, and whispers to him the rumor going around town. It looks like that a few days ago, a group of demon hunters went to the Withered Bone Forest, but they all ended up being wiped out. This means that there are vacancies now in the rankings that they can exploit. Qingfeng points out that they probably won't be promoted since they are still in the 4th heaven of the Key Gathering Realm. Zheng agrees with him and relays that 4 inner Key Gathering Realm demon hunters were already promoted to Yellow rank, and while 1 Yellow rank was promoted to Profound rank. However, there is still 1 vacancy for a Yellow rank position, and all the inner Key Gathering Realm demon hunters are promoted already. Thus, the Demon Hunter Bureau would conduct a martial arts competition to determine who gets to be promoted to this last competition. The winner of the competition would then be encouraged to cultivate until he reaches levels needed to become a Yellow rank demon hunter. The competition would start in 3 days, and Zhang had already seen a lot of people signing up. There are no restrictions on the competition, so not only are the 9th Heaven Disciples signing up, the 8th Heaven Disciples are too. This is good news for Qingfeng because he has 3 days to prepare for the competition and win it. If he finally becomes a Yellow rank demon hunter, he would be allowed to enter the 2nd level of the demon prison, where he can find stronger demons to use in his system. But for Zheng, this tournament is just wishful thinking for those of them in the lower ranks. After all, it would be nearly impossible for them to defeat the 9th Heaven Disciples. He was about to go on his way when Qingfeng grabs him and asks where they are signing up for the tournament. Zheng is confused, but he still tells Qingfeng, who quickly waves goodbye. Qingfeng knows that he has to tread lightly. His system only works against demons, so even if he joins the tournament, the other martial artists could kick his butt. Moreover, joining such a prestigious competition is against his low-key nature. But still, he now has all of these skills and talents like bronze skin, iron bones, illusion vision, and more. One of these abilities would be enough to tip the balance in his favor, and since he has 4 of these overpowered skills, he can surely do it. Zheng realizes what Qingfeng must be planning, and he tries to persuade him not to sign up. However, Qingfeng just replies that all of their haters would shut up if he wins the competition. He then exits the demon prison, leaving behind Zheng, who couldn't help but wonder where Qingfeng's new confidence is coming from. Zheng tried to catch up with his friend Qingfeng had already walked far ahead. Since he cannot physically stop Qingfeng anymore, he pulls out his manual and thinks of a way to save his friend from joining a deadly tournament. The registration for the tournament is currently being held at the Righteous Key Hall. There, an employee is listing down the name, cultivation level, and positions of all would-be contestants. A commotion occurs when one famous disciple, Gu Qingfeng of the Ninth Heaven of the Key Gathering Realm, signs up for the tournament. He is known for single-handedly defeating an iron-armored zombie, a feat that should only be possible for internal energy realm experts. Another participant is Bai Ming, the descendant of the White Horse with a shining silver spear. Next, a white-haired demon trainee joins the tournament, Yi Xuan of the Seventh Heaven Key Gathering Realm. The registrar is hesitant to let him join because he is only of the Seventh Heaven, but Yi Xuan insists. Some disciples snicker and make fun of him for trying to join, but Yi Xuan just coolly states that cultivation level doesn't determine victory or defeat. He calls them ignorant, and cowardly for not signing up. An argument was about to start when someone suddenly shouted his support of Yi Xuan. It was Qingfeng, and he states that he is motivated to join the tournament thanks to Yi Xuan's words. Yi Xuan thanks him for his support and loudly states that as martial artists, they should all be brave enough to challenge stronger opponents, even when they have higher cultivation levels than them. Others are now also getting hyped up, so Yi Xuan thanks Qingfeng and they shake hands. Unfortunately, when Qingfeng reveals that he is actually just only at third heaven level, even Yi Xuan gets pissed at his overconfidence. Before anyone can stop him, Qingfeng approaches the table and registers for the tournament. In the swamps outside the city, a horse disturbs the stillness of the forest. Riding this horse is Qingfeng, who is looking for a handy spiritual weapon. Since there are only a few days left before the martial arts competition starts, he has decided that the best course of action for him is to locate the Wooden King's sword that the demon tree mentioned and retrieve it. After a few hours of hard riding, he spots a concentration of demonic energy. This is actually what Qingfeng is looking for, since demons would probably be near a powerful spiritual weapon. He jumps at the demonic energy, but finds out that he only caught a bunch of fireflies in his palms. Nevertheless, they do lead him to the village where the Wooden King's sword is said to be buried. He was surprised that he never encountered even one demon, but he follows the demon tree's instructions and enters the backyard of the village's mountain temple. At the backyard, he spots a majestic locust tree growing from the ground, and he guesses that in a few more years, this very same tree would probably evolve into a demon tree just like what happened in the past. With the location now found, he throws down his tools and picks up his shovel. Qingfeng rigorously digs a large hole at the base of the tree. After digging a few meters underground, his shovel finally hits something solid. Qingfeng clears away the dirt, and he smiles upon seeing an old box buried in the soil. Qingfeng opens the box, but he was crestfallen when he sees that there was only a simple wooden sword inside. Is this really the legendary Wooden King's sword? Qingfeng picks up the sword and decides to test it out. He swung the sword at the handle of the shovel beside him, and to his horror, the wooden sword broke in two while the shovel remained intact. Qingfeng promises retribution at the tree demon for lying to him and leading him through a wild goose chase, and he decides to chop it down after he returns to the demon prison. However, he notices that the broken sword he was holding had now grown back its broken tip. It now looks as brand new as before. Meanwhile, the broken part of the blade that fell off buried itself in the ground and rapidly grows roots. The roots violently grows a few meters tall and tries to wrestle the sword free away from Qingfeng. All while this is happening, rapid amounts of ki are being unleashed by the sword. Qingfeng has no idea what's happening, but he won't just let the roots steal the sword away from him. He stabs the sword at the growing vines, and the sword easily blows a hole through it. This stops the vines while Qingfeng grins since he just learned the correct way of wielding the Wooden King's sword. After the short battle, Qingfeng now tries to make the Wooden King's sword recognize him as his master. According to the tree demon, the way to do this is to drip his blood into the blade. He tries to cut himself with the sword, but instead, the wooden sword's edge got chipped. Qingfeng starts getting annoyed at the crappy sword, and he hits his hand a few more times to try and make himself bleed. A few seconds later, he starts getting dizzy, and he accidentally drops the sword by his side. Tiny little vines start sprouting from the sword, and it soon attaches itself to Qingfeng. Qingfeng doesn't stop it, and soon enough, the vines are extracting his blood and transferring it into the sword. The sword glows red with his blood and veins etch itself in its surface, thumping in sync with Qingfeng's own heartbeat. Unfortunately for Qingfeng, his knowledge is still lacking when it comes to spiritual weapons. These weapons aren't easily mastered by just about anyone, and the owner needs to have enormous strength to control them. If the owner fails to have this strength, the spiritual weapon can absorb the owner until they die. This is what's currently happening to Qingfeng. Qingfeng doesn't understand why the Wooden King's sword still hasn't stopped absorbing his blood. Qingfeng focuses his ki into his hand and threatens to bury the sword if it doesn't stop. The sword retracts its vines, and Qingfeng falls to his knees in exhaustion. He curses at the sword and drops it to the ground. To control a spiritual weapon, martial artists would generally need to be at the internal energy realm. Qingfeng is sadly just in the ki-gathering realm. This means he can only provide the needed ki to the spiritual weapon by letting it suck his blood. The only reason Qingfeng managed to survive was thanks to his unique constitution provided by the system. If he didn't have that, he would have become a mummified corpse already. Qingfeng starts cultivating to restore his lost ki, and the system notifies him that he finally obtained the Wooden King's sword. It was a top-grade spiritual weapon at the Earth rank, but since it was buried for so long, it has now deteriorated to a lower grade. If Qingfeng wants to restore it to its former glory, he would have to nurture it carefully. The system also tells Qingfeng that the sword's special skill is that it can regenerate any broken piece. Qingfeng picks up the sword and acknowledges that the sword is indeed strong. He silently thanks the tree demon in his mind and promises that as a reward, he will kill the tree demon with it. After all, the tree demon would just wither away the demon prison, so it would be better to use it to nourish his new sword. Qingfeng smiles wickedly with his new plan. Raindrops start falling from the sky, and Qingfeng curses his bad luck. He decides to enter the temple to wait for the rain to stop. Inside the room, there was the weathered and beheaded statue of the temple's god. Based on Qingfeng's research, the people in this region worship the mountain god, who they believe has the power of all beings, can expel evil, and even help people avoid calamities. The people also believe that if the statue of the mountain god is broken, this means that there is a powerful demon nearby that can overpower the god's protection. Qingfeng lights a fire in front of the statue and settles himself for the night. An hour later, Qingfeng is eating his dinner when he hears footsteps coming outside. He wonders if the demons have finally arrived when the door opens and an entourage of people walk in. Leading them is a beautiful maiden in a green dress. Upon seeing them, Qingfeng says one word, "Hi." Qingfeng guesses that these people are probably not demons. Meanwhile, the ladies' guards encircle her and stare threateningly at Qingfeng. They look at him and at the weapons he has on the ground. The head guard, a man named Sing, then tells their lady that the temple is relatively safe, so they will rest there for now. Meanwhile, their other men would secure the outside to ensure their safety. With their orders given, the group disperses, with Xai watching through the window, and the others standing outside ready to draw their weapons at any hint of trouble. As for the lady, she smiles and greets Qingfeng happily. Qingfeng smiles charmingly and greets her back. However, head guard Sing abruptly throws a pouch of coins at Qingfeng's feet. He tells Qingfeng that the temple is already crowded, so it's better for him to leave with the coins and find another place to stay for the night. Qingfeng ignores Sing's words and just continues eating his dinner. He was the first one to find the temple, so how can anyone else order him to leave? However, what Qingfeng says is that the money is not enough. He asks Sing to throw more coins his way. Sing asks him for his price, so Qingfeng replies that he wants 24 taels, more than 12 times the amount of coins offered earlier. Sing releases his aura and warns Qingfeng not to be greedy. Qingfeng realizes that Sing is at the true energy realm, way out of his league. If the opponent was in the internal energy realm, maybe he could still eke out a win with all of his talents. But since this bald man is at the true energy realm, he has no chance. Thankfully, the lady interrupts their conversation and points out to her guards that Qingfeng was here first. Thus, they have no right to make him leave. She smiles and apologizes to Qingfeng for the rudeness of her guards. Qingfeng, in return, lowers the price to 20 taels. The lady laughs and asks him to stop joking. She tells him that there might be demons outside, so they should all settle down in the temple. Qingfeng thanked the lady for her generosity, but he was actually regretting not leaving earlier. 2 taels of silver was better than nothing, and he can handle any demon outside. Meanwhile, outside the temple, the lightning that flashes overhead lights up the blood on the tiles. The men that were guarding the outside of the temple are now all dead. Inside the temple, the lady offers to share her food with Qingfeng. Her guards complain since they don't have that much food left, but Qingfeng arrogantly accepts the food. When their hands touch, the girl blushes and looks lovingly towards Qingfeng. Meanwhile, all the guards menacingly glare at him. Qingfeng ignores the burning glares of the guards and asks the lady if he can know her name. The lady introduces herself as Sei Wei. while Qingfeng also relays his name. Sai Wei narrates how her father was transferred to Wutong County and she is just on her way to visit him. She thinks it's destiny when she learns that Qingfeng himself is from Wutong County. The two are about to start talking about the customs of the regions when Xing feels that something is amiss. He shushes the two talking and readies his sword. He also tells the other guards to protect their lady while he goes out to take a look. When he leaps outside, he immediately sees the fallen bodies of their comrades. Based on their corpses, there didn't seem to be a fight, but they were directly killed. He also guesses that the sound of rain must have muffled their deaths, so he didn't notice sooner. Behind Xing, a lone figure is standing on the rooftop. The assassin then addresses Xing and scolds him for making the chase difficult. He then releases his red key and jumps down to the ground behind Xing. Xing recognizes that this assassin is the Blood Demon sect's White Bone Elder. The assassin compliments Xing for recognizing him, and he demands that Xing hand over King Yun's daughter. Xing easily rejects his demand and shrouds his blade with ki. With that, the battle begins. Inside the temple, the lady and her guards are readying themselves for a fight. They had heard the whole thing outside, so they knew that an assassin had come for her. Meanwhile, Qingfeng is confused what the Demon Blood sect is and who the Elder White Bone is. Thankfully, Sai Wei has the same questions, so a guard explains to her that the Blood Demon sect is a cult of martial artists who worship demons. They perform demon magic to increase their strength and prolong their life. Basically, they are trying to turn themselves into demons. The Elder White Bone is one of their higher-ranking members at the Gang Energy realm and is also the successor of the corpse refining lineage. Sai Wei was so horrified to hear about all of this that she accidentally stumbled backward. Before she can hit her head, Qingfeng swoops in to catch her. Sai Wei thanks him, but she is still confused why such a cult wants someone like her. Her guard then explains that her father actually solved a major case involving the Blood Demon sect, which is why he was promoted to become the governor of Wutong County. The sect must want to capture Sai Wei to use her as a bargaining chip against her father. Qingfeng couldn't believe that Sai Wei is actually the governor's daughter, but he realizes that this is actually a good opportunity. He calls out to a nearby guard and asks him if the members of the sect are humans or demons. When the guard inquires why he wants to know, Qingfeng reveals that he is actually a demon hunter from the Demon Suppression Bureau. Sai Wei lovingly looks at him with pleasant adoration and asks him if he has a way to defeat the Elder White Bone. Meanwhile, her guards all laugh themselves silly. They explain to Sai Wei that even though Qingfeng is a demon hunter, he's of the lowest rank and his cultivation is only at the key gathering stage. Thus, he cannot really stand toe-to-toe against stronger enemies. Sai Wei immediately understood this and begs Qingfeng not to risk himself. However, Qingfeng confidently states that all he needs to know is if the Elder White Bone is a demon or not. The guard finally answers his question and states that the Blood Demon sect members are humans with transplanted demon organs. Thus, they are considered half-demon only. Qingfeng asks the system if half-demons can harm him, and to his utter shock, the system reiterates that he will only get stronger if attacked by demons, not half-demons. Disappointed, Qingfeng curses his luck, since he was already so confident and prideful earlier. The temple's doors were then suddenly blown open by a gust of wind, and a new figure emerged. It was a tall, rotting zombie. Moreover, the zombie didn't come alone. A horde of them were now forcing their way into the temple. Qingfeng hypothesizes that these zombies are probably made by the Elder White Bone. A battle ensues, with Sai Wei's guards doing their best to keep the zombies at bay using their swords. Unfortunately, they soon realize that the zombies are too many, so one of the guards pushes his comrade back and orders him to set up the barrier. The other guard hesitates, since he knows that holding back the zombies is a two-man job. But the other guards insist, and he starts igniting his own life force to fuel his ki. The zombies continue their charge while the other guard focuses on erecting the barrier. The zombies are now getting close to Sai Wei, so Qingfeng starts to help. He has no chance against a half-demon like the Elder White Bone, but he should be able to fight these demons. However, one still manages to slip past their guard and attacks Sai Wei head-on. The zombies were about to put their hands on her, but thankfully, the first guard managed to kill it. Wounds cover his whole body, his blade broken from the prolonged fight, and lastly, his life force is barely flickering. He says one final goodbye to Sai Wei, succumbing to his wounds and letting the zombies overrun him. Meanwhile, another fierce battle is ongoing outside between the Elder White Bone and head guard Xing. Xing notices that the temple is getting overrun with zombies pouring in from the entrance, so he tries to throw his sword at the zombies to kill some of them. Unfortunately, the Elder White Bone notices this and redirects his sword using his ki to fall harmlessly to the ground. He then warns Sing to focus on the battlefield in front of him. Sing knows that he has to quickly defeat the Elder White Bone if he wants to help his comrades, so he enhances his body to its utmost potential. His clothes rip as his muscles bulge and his height increases. He then charges at the Elder White Bone with just his fists. The Elder White Bone grins and doesn't even dodge. Sing's fist collides with the Elder's face, but surprisingly, Sing was the one who gets blown back. The Elder White Bone had completely turned himself into a silver-armored demon. The Elder White Bone proudly proclaims the superiority of his skills and his zombie slaves. With Sing now defeated, he turns around and moves to his next target, Sei Wei herself. The wounded Sing urges his lady to run away, but his vision slowly fades as he loses consciousness. Meanwhile, Sei Wei and Qingfeng are temporarily safe inside the barrier erected by one of the guards. Qingfeng uses this momentary peace to ask the system if zombies also fall under the category of demons. When he learns that they do, he declares that it's time for him to take up the mantle and fight. He thanks Sei Wei for the food earlier and promises to save her as repayment. Qingfeng then walks out of the barrier despite Sei Wei's protests. Qingfeng boldly walks toward the zombies, who quickly overruns and overwhelms him. A few seconds later, Sei Wei was horrified when she saw Qingfeng drop his sword. Sei Wei guesses that Qingfeng must be sacrificing himself to buy them time to escape. Meanwhile, Qingfeng's defense continues to increase as the mob of zombies to him relentlessly. Sei Wei soon notices that the group of demons is now slowly being pushed out of the temple. They are amazed that Qingfeng is still alive under all of those undead. Due to the high number of attackers, Qingfeng quickly exceeds the limit of his defense once again, and his bronze skin, iron bone skill evolves into adamantine body. Qingfeng then releases his ki, blasting away all the zombies mobbing him. The Elder White Demon warily stares at him, but Qingfeng just smirks. Now that the Elder is fully a demon, Qingfeng doesn't have to fear anything anymore. The Elder White Bone laughs uproariously at the arrogance of Qingfeng to face him. He unleashes his blood-red bone evil fire and warns Qingfeng that no matter how strong he is, his fire is made from the literal bones of 1,000 humans and demons. However, Qingfeng just compliments his fire for being warm. The insult angers the Elder, and he throws a fireball at Qingfeng. Qingfeng jumps back, and his fire attribute increases by plus 300 due to the super powerful attack. His fire attribute exceeds its limit, and he unlocks the skill, Fire Control. Qingfeng quickly uses the new ability to dispel the Elder's fire and absorbs it into his hand. The Elder's jaw dropped in shock. He thought it was impossible that anyone else could control the fire that he was refining for decades, but he could clearly see the fire is now dancing in Qingfeng's palms. The Elder tries to command the fire to return to him, but no matter what he does, the fire doesn't budge. He screams at Qingfeng to return his fire to him, and since Qingfeng is a good dude, he obliges. He prepares to throw the fire at the Elder, who starts running away in fear. Unfortunately, the fire was too quick, and it hit the Elder in a huge explosion that shook the whole mountain. The Bone Evil Fire continues to rage in the middle of the temple courtyard, forcing Sei Wei and the others to cover their eyes. Its explosion was so strong that Sing was flung around like a doll. Qingfeng knows that he has to control the raging fire quickly, so he inhales deeply and breathes in the fire. The vacuum causes Sing to roll around again like an old log, so the others run to help him up. While her guard helps Sting, Sei Wei approaches Qingfeng. She was shocked to see that the Elder White Bone had turned to ashes. Meanwhile, Qingfeng is regretting burning the Elder Descenders because now he cannot even loot the corpse. A powerful martial artist would have spiritual weapons, elixirs, martial arts books, and a lot of money in his body. Qingfeng burned them all down. Sei Wei bends down to ask him if he's okay, but she starts blushing when they get close. Sing and the other guard guess that their lady must have fallen for Qingfeng thanks to his strength and charm. Qingfeng chuckles and invites everyone to return inside the temple so they can resume their meal. The others are shocked that Qingfeng would just go back to food just like that, but Sei Wei voices her support and points out that eating is the best thing in the world. Qingfeng relights their campfire, and Sing profusely thanks him for saving all of their lives. He apologizes for disrespecting him the first time they met. Qingfeng replies that he just did it to repay the barbecue they offered him earlier, but Sing just laughs. He formally introduces himself as the steward of the new governor. He then pulls out a token from his bag and offers it to Qingfeng. Likewise, he then informs Qingfeng that he can use the token at their county if he ever needs any help from the governor's office. Qingfeng accepts the token and wonders what he should do with it. The other guard also prostrates himself in front of Qingfeng and apologizes for being rude to him all the time. He also apologizes for underestimating Qingfeng and requests for a punishment. Qingfeng agrees that he must be punished, which surprises Sai Wei. She was about to interrupt, but Xing stops her and explains to her that a normal guard cannot offend a powerful individual like Qingfeng. Therefore, it makes sense for the guard to be punished. But to Sai Wei's delight and Xing's surprise, Qingfeng just asks for monetary payment. The guard offers to pay more to Qingfeng, but Xing scolds the guard. He points out that a powerhouse like Qingfeng doesn't need money, and is just showing mercy to the guard by asking for money. Thus, it would be disrespectful of him to offer more. The guard once again apologizes and offers the correct amount, while Qingfeng glares at Xing for stopping the guard from paying more. He could have earned a lot more if not for that meddling bald guy. With the danger now past, the group spent the night cooking, eating, and conversing. Qingfeng is resting while pondering everything that happened during that day. He is surprised at how drastically the people change their attitudes toward him once they learn of his strength. The system also fully explains his new skills, Adamantite Body and Control Fire. Adamantite Body fully upgrades his older defense skills, while Control Fire would make him basically invincible against fire-based enemies. In addition to that, he also has the Bone Evil Fire that he stole from the Elder. Qingfeng goes to sleep happy with all the rewards he got. The next morning, Qingfeng is preparing to depart when Sai Wei surprises him with a question. She asks him if he is willing to go back to Wutong County with her. Qingfeng was entranced by Sai Wei's beauty, so he happily agreed to escort her back to Wutong Country. 2 days later, they reach the city and Qingfeng says his farewell to the girl. Sai Wei watches Qingfeng ride away on his horse until Xing reminds her that since they are now living in the same county, they would have plenty of opportunities to meet again. With that, they continue their journey to meet her father. At the martial arts arena, crowds are gathering to watch the first match of the tournament. The first match is between the 7th Heaven prodigy Yi Xuan versus He Yi, an older 9th Heaven demon hunter. The commentators guess that He Yi would easily win due to his superior cultivation level, and they all remember how arrogant Yi Xuan was during the registration period. Their prediction seems to come true, since He Yi easily parries Yi Xuan's sword and manages to strike him from behind. Yi Xuan falls to his knees, and He Yi rests his blade against Yi Xuan's neck. He had basically won, but he then kicked Yi Xuan off the stage. Thankfully, Qingfeng arrives and catches Yi Xuan before he hits the ground and gets more injured. The first match ends with He Yi's victory. Qingfeng was called for the second match, and his opponent is a 9th Heaven disciple named Lin Xiao. The audience snickers at Qingfeng, and they laugh at him when they learn that he is just a 3rd Heaven fighting against a 9th Heaven martial artist. They also pity Qingfeng for believing Yi Xuan's speech during the registration period about how cultivation levels didn't matter when Yi Xuan himself was just defeated earlier. Yi Xuan blames himself for encouraging Qingfeng to join the tournament. Now he will get hurt just like him. Meanwhile, the tournament arbiter approaches Yi Xuan and advises him to leave since his match is already over. In the arena, Qingfeng's opponent Lin Xiao smiles happily. It would be an easy win for him since he got matched up against a literal child. He advises Qingfeng to just resign and give him the points already, since he'll just end up losing anyway. But Qingfeng argues that they still haven't competed. Lin Xiao doesn't want to take advantage of the weak, so he offers Qingfeng the opportunity to use his weapon while he would fight only with his bare hands. Qingfeng rejects his offer once again and points out that if he manages to win with his weapon drawn, then people would think it's because the match is unbalanced. Unfortunately, Lin Xiao is still supremely confident that he will win, so he even offers to handicap himself more. If Qingfeng manages to make him move even an inch, then he would resign and won't blame him for anything. Qingfeng was getting annoyed at how arrogant his opponent was, so he accepted the offer and drew his sword. He announces to the whole arena that his sword is the Wooden King's sword, a mysterious grade spiritual weapon. The audience laughs at him and points at his wooden sword. It looks so old and broken that they don't believe it's a spiritual weapon. They are now starting to believe that Qingfeng must be crazy. Qingfeng once again asks Lin Xiao if he won't complain even when he loses without drawing his weapon, but Lin Xiao just replies that he won't. With that response, Qingfeng immediately charges with his sword and stabs Lin Xiao. The sword manages to cut through Lin Xiao's sword, but Lin Xiao grabs the sword and stops it. He is now annoyed at Qingfeng and calls him a child playing with a wooden stick. He squeezes the sword and breaks it. Qingfeng looks at him unamused, and Lin Xiao notices that the stick has wounded his hand. The broken off part of the sword drops into the ground and starts to emanate ki. A few seconds later, vines erupt from the ground, and soon enough, a majestic tree had grown right underneath Lin Xiao's feet. He finally realizes that Qingfeng wasn't joking. The sword was truly a spiritual weapon, and he wouldn't be able to break free from the mighty tree. The tree's branches and vines wrap around him like rope and start squeezing him. Lin Xiao coughs up blood while Qingfeng just watches and asks him to surrender. Lin Xiao angrily cries out that the match is unfair, so Qingfeng reminds him that he already made a promise he won't blame Qingfeng if he loses. He also points out that he clearly stated that his weapon is of mysterious level, and yet Lin Xiao still decided to fight without a weapon. Lin Xiao still argues back and asks the judges if they can have another match without spiritual weapons. That way, it would be much more even. Qingfeng, meanwhile, counter-argues that there are no rules prohibiting the use of a spiritual weapon, so their earlier match is clearly legitimate. The judges laugh at his bravery, and since Qingfeng was right, they award him the win. Qingfeng dispels the tree binding Lin Xiao, and Lin Xiao lands back on the ground. Qingfeng was about to leave when Lin Xiao called out to him and asked him for another match. However, the judge himself ordered Lin Xiao to accept his defeat and leave the stage. A while later, Qingfeng was approached by one of the judges, Master He Fenghua. Fenghua tells Qingfeng that with his level of cultivation, he won't be able to utilize the full potential of the Wooden King's sword. Therefore, he is offering to buy the sword at a price of 1,000 taels. Qingfeng rejects the offer and states that it's a family heirloom, but deep inside, he is also insulted at the low price Fenghua offered. At that moment, the female judge also arrives to join the conversation. She had just finished scolding Lin Xue for trying to have another match, and she is calling Fenghua since the next round of duels are about to start. Fenghua amicably leaves with her, and Qingfeng silently thanks her since he knows that Fenghua desperately wants his Wooden King's sword. However, Fenghua also has another scheme in mind. With his new plan, Qingfeng would willingly hand over his spiritual weapon to him. As for Qingfeng, he heads over to the cultivation room. He notices how a lot of people seem to care about his cultivation level. Even if he doesn't rely on it much and just uses his skills to fight, he decides to raise his cultivation level to avoid garnering too much attention. He opens his Demon Hunter manual and starts following its steps in cultivation. Qingfeng concentrates his Ki in his inner stomach and starts tempering it. A whole day passes, and Qingfeng is horrified to learn that he just slept the whole day. Cultivation is so boring that he couldn't concentrate on it. He asks the system if there is a way for it to increase his cultivation level. After all, it did increase his defense and strength attributes, so there must be a way unless the system is just turning him into a muscular man. Unfortunately, the system replies that it cannot increase his cultivation system since he doesn't have cultivation at all. It explains that Qingfeng is just at the Ki gathering realm, so he is just storing the Ki of the surroundings in his body. True cultivation only occurs at the internal energy realm, where the user is converting the stored Stai into unique inner Ki. When Qingfeng reaches this level, then the system might be able to help him grow more. Qingfeng tries to ask for an exception, but the system just bonks him in the head. Qingfeng knows that with his current attitude, it would probably take him a long time to reach the internal energy realm naturally. He puts it out of his mind for now and heads out to join the second round of the tournament.